Well, I mean, I can think of a couple of them. Like, for example, when I was working and I was traveling back and forth to work, and we also wanted to kind of, like, I was doing the side hustle stuff, going to Chino Hills. It was an hour there, hour back. I was leaving at whatever, 4:30 in the morning, coming back at 6. We would have dinner. During those times, I remember, like you said, I used to leave like little notes. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you remember that.
I do. I have the box in the
You have a stack
cabinet.
of notes.
I have it.
Yeah, so I would try to make it a point to write notes in the morning, so that way when you woke up, you would see something. I mean, that's a little thing that you can do that just says, "Hey, you matter, and I want you to know that I care about you." Mm-hmm. You know.
Welcome back to another episode of the Married with the Mugicas podcast. We are Richard and Hailey Mugica. We have been married for 12 years, dated for a good 7 before that, so been a really long time.
Yeah, buddy.
And we've got 4 small kids. My husband runs a business.
We run a business.
I run our home, and we are homeschoolers and all of that fun stuff. And we are just super passionate about marriage and about family. And our little slogan here on this show is what, babe?
Is building a marriage that you love coming home to.
Yes, because we firmly believe that your marriage is home. It's not a place, it's not a building, it's your family. And that's worth building into. So that's what we're here for.
No doubt about it.
So before we get into it too far, I know we talk about this all the time.
Yeah. But
we are like full in the middle of football season with our boys.
Oh, we're deep.
And it's so much fun.
Yes.
And I love watching them. And our boys love it so much. It just makes me think sometimes, like, do you ever wish that you were athletic? Like, so that you could do it too?
Wait. Okay. It just makes me think, do you ever wish that you were athletic?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Like, wouldn't it be fun?
Wait, what? I'm confused.
Wouldn't it be fun if you could do it too?
Are you trying to make fun of me right now? Or are you trying to mock me? She is literally, if you're not on YouTube watching this, you're literally crying. You have tears coming down your eyes right now.
But do you ever wish that you were? Like, don't you think it looks like fun?
What?
Football, like athleticism in general.
Yes, very fun. What are you saying? I'm confused. I don't know, man. This must be April Fool's. What month are we in? Is it April? Is April around the corner? This is getting crazy. I don't know, man. She's crying. I'm confused. I don't know if you're saying I'm not athletic or
I just wish that you were. That's all I'm saying.
Oh my gosh, dude.
No, you're satisfied with your level of athleticism.
I don't know. Now I don't know if I should be satisfied or dissatisfied. How about you tell me? Should I be satisfied? She's crying so much. All right, I'm gonna have to take over the show. I'm gonna take over.
Oh my god!
You got
mascara
running down.
Do
your
I
face.
really? We might have to restart.
You know what? That's it. I'm gonna go hit the sauna. I'll be back.
I'll be right back.
No, are you going to really be back?
So last week's episode, we talked about the 5 most Googled marriage questions.
Yes, we did.
That
it was a good episode.
Week.
Great episode.
Yeah.
Actually, it comes out today.
It comes out today. So we haven't heard it since we recorded it, but I think it'll be a good one. Mm-hmm. And today's episode, we are talking about supporting your spouse through stress and grief.
Stress and grief. That's a deep one.
Which every single couple at some point in your life is going to deal with those two things. And
yes,
I think it's a good one to talk about.
I think it's a great one.
We're going to go there.
Let's do it.
And I'll be super honest with you. I was like, this topic has been on our list, and it's actually one of the few that was actually like suggested through Instagram to talk about.
Oh, it was suggested.
It was.
Oh,
and
okay,
I've been super hesitant to go to this one. But I just felt like I got that little nudge this morning. Like, this is what we're supposed to talk about. I think in light of a lot of things. So Charlie Kirk's memorial service was just this last Sunday.
Great service.
Erica gave the most beautiful speech, and she really touched on this topic as well. So that's why I really felt like it's timely, appropriate. We're going to go there.
Let's do it. Let's go there. All the way.
There.
Full steam.
In our life, I mean, we've gone through a lot of, stressful situations, starting businesses failing, making big moves that family didn't understand, just kind of all of those kinds of things. And I'm really, really thankful. You and I have always been on the same page and on the same team. I think we've been very, very intentional with that.
Yes, we have.
And I think that is one of the superpowers, or one of the things that I would encourage people to really do if you're trying to support your spouse through a stressful or grief time.
Well,
or a
because we're
time
on
of
a
grief
team. We're a team.
you can't, there's going to be so much noise around you. This is stupid. This is crazy. What are you doing? You don't need to add to that noise. You just need to believe in your spouse, be on their side 100%. And if it's the wrong choice, pivot as a team later. But like, just go all in on your spouse.
Yeah.
You can never go wrong going all in with your spouse.
It's
so I think
you
that's
and your
important.
spouse against the world.
And we've gone through times that really have felt that way. And it just like solidifies that foundation even more.
It does.
It does.
Yeah,
So
it
I think
strengthens it.
It strengthens it. So I think that's really important. I think that's like step one.
As a side note, I think that's why it's really cool to get married young, because you can take these steps together as a couple. Like I always think back, imagine if I had taken those steps or you had taken those steps alone without me and then we got married. To your point, like, dude, our bond wouldn't be nearly as strong.
It like robs the marriage of something.
It robs it. Yeah, you got to have the victories together, the struggles together, the big swings that you might miss.
Yeah.
You're going to go along the way. But man, those are cool times.
Yeah. So our stance here is definitely very like, the world will give you the advice. You've got to have all these ducks in a row before you get married. And that's nonsense.
It's a bunch of nonsense.
Get married and figure it out together.
Yeah, same thing with kids. Oh, well, you got to have this figured out before you have kids, and don't have another kid because this, and I think it's all fugazi.
It's all nonsense, yeah.
It's all nonsense. There's no perfect time for any of it.
Yeah.
No perfect time for marriage, no perfect time for kids, no perfect time to start a business, no perfect time to quit your job. It never comes.
Yeah. And if you're waiting for that, it'll never happen.
Yeah.
So I think that's step one, is being on the same team against the world.
Yeah.
Another really important thing, I think, is making sure that the environment you're creating in your home, and this is not just women, men and women add to the environment of their home, but making sure that is somewhere your spouse wants to be and is a comfortable place for your spouse to be. You don't want to be the nagging wife that as soon as your husband walks in the door, you're nitpicking, and you want to make sure your home is like a refuge for your husband. I think that's so important, especially because men, at least in our situation, you're out in the world all day. You're doing your thing, and then you come home, and I want that to be like, whew, for you. Yeah, and I've used this quote on the show before, but you want what is the exact quote? You want the wife wants to make the husband happy to come home, and the husband wants to make the wife sad to see him go. So
framework.
both of you have a responsibility there.
That's a great framework.
But as a husband, if you're just like, she's thinking, like, gosh, I can't wait till he's out of this house and I can get control in here again, that's not a good thing. And if he's thinking, gosh, I'm just going to go grab another drink with the guys because I don't want to go home.
Yeah,
that's not a good thing either.
That's not a good thing. I think, to your point, I mean, the husband should just can't wait to get home, right? Just cannot wait to see the wife. If there's ever a time where he's like, oh, I can't wait to go see my buddies and not go see my wife, there's something wrong, right? Mm-hmm. Same with the wife, too. The wife should be like, dude, I want to see my husband. I want to be with him.
So how do you think you could communicate that if you were in a spot in your marriage where you felt like, I don't really want to go home. Like, I just want to go do another round of golf with the guys or whatever. How do you communicate that to your wife in a way that like she can hear you, that's effective, that's not necessarily hurting feelings, but it's communicating like, hey, something about the environment, our home is just, or like, is that something you do internally, or is that a conversation you have with your wife, do you think?
I think that's a culture you have in your home.
Right. So how do you fix that, I guess? Like, how do you initiate that conversation to fix it?
Well, I mean, dude, you got to have the conversations, obviously, but I think it's you make it known. I think it's the art of making things known. You have always made it very known to me that I want to spend time with you. I want you around. I want quality time together. I want us to have a life where we are looking forward to seeing each other and that we want to be with each other.
Okay,
right?
But I have a question for you, though. So how do you communicate that? Like, hey, I really want you around. I really like it when you're home. I love our life together, but also not make you feel guilty for doing the things you have to do. Like, I feel like that's kind of a fine line as a wife.
Yeah.
Of like, hey, I'm really disappointed when you're gone because I like having you around, but also I'm supporting you being gone because I know it's what you have to do to support our family. Like, how do you walk that line as a wife?
There's a difference between, dude, I'm out working because I got to support the family, and I'm out with my buddies because I want to go have a good time. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's like if your husband's out there working and he's providing and he's got to go do what he's got to do to make it happen. I mean, that is, as a wife, I think you should be fine. Like that's what the man does, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's what he needs to do. But if he's out there just going out with his buddies, playing golf every Saturday, there's a problem there, right? So I think there's a delineation that you have to make. Is it my husband is out there with other people because he doesn't want to necessarily spend that time with me, or is he out there making things happen because for the betterment of the family?
But
right?
I think sometimes husbands can also, it can still be work related, but it's also being used as an escape. You know, like it's not always going to be golf or the bar with the guys that's their escape. It might be work, but they're doing more than they really need to be doing, or they're doing something that somebody else could do, but it's keeping them away from home. So it's harder to differentiate those, I think.
Yeah, it is harder to differentiate, but there's also seasons, right? So for example, when I started One Call Closers, which is our business, I was going into the office every day, and I was with the guys, and I was around the guys, and I was there even though I didn't have to go do 9 to 5. I was kind of doing 9 to 5.
Oh, you're doing
right?
9 to 9.
Yeah, 9 to 9 or whatever it is. But it's because at that season in our life, that's what was required to get things off the ground, right? Now, obviously, things are a little bit different. I don't do that any longer. There's a little bit more leeway and all that. But I think there's seasons.
Yeah.
And as a wife and as a husband, you have to recognize those seasons in your life where maybe it's like, okay, we have to orient more towards the business right now because this is going to help us long term. Or we have to, hey, maybe after that season, we have to reorient more of that time together because we need to come back and reconnect.
Yeah.
So I think you have to recognize the seasons of life.
Yeah. And just to be completely honest and transparent, I have not always done a great job. Like, especially if you have to go out of town or travel. I really tried to be graceful about that, but I know I'm not always. So I'm not just speaking to people. I could improve here also, for sure.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
And then you just said something that I thought was really important. Okay. So like if you're in that really, really busy season where you're going all in on your business or you're going all in on whatever the vision is for your family, what are some things that you can do to like still make sure you're prioritizing your relationship, even though that time is maybe going to look smaller? Like what are some priorities you can make sure you have in place to make sure that's still happening?
Well, I mean, I can think of a couple of them. Like, for example, when I was working and I was traveling back and forth to work, and we also wanted to kind of, like I was doing the side hustle stuff, going to Chino Hills. It was an hour there, hour back. I was leaving at 4:30 in the morning, coming back at 6. We would have dinner. During those times, I remember, like you said, I used to leave like little notes. I don't know if you remember that.
I do. I have the box in the kitchen
You have a stack
cabinet.
of notes.
I have it.
Yeah, so I would try to make it a point to write notes in the morning, so that way when you woke up, you would see something. I mean, that's a little thing that you can do that just says, "Hey, you matter, and I want you to know that I care about you." You know. Also, too, throughout the day, we would text each other. Like we don't really do that anymore because we're with each other so much.
Yeah.
But back then, it was just like, hey, we send texts back and forth, communicate, maybe call each other. Things like that to connect in a given day, just to make sure that we both know that we're important. But
well, I don't know if you'll remember this, but during that season, I used to make lunch every Tuesday and actually drive down to your office with the kids, and we would have lunch with you.
That's right. Yeah.
Because
that's right.
You were gone all the time. And so that was one thing that we kind of like safeguarded was a Tuesday lunch.
It was a ritual.
It was a ritual for us.
And the kids knew it because you'd come down, you would make the lunch. We wouldn't go buy the lunch.
No, we couldn't at that time.
Yeah. And then we would go to the ice cream spot. I forget what the ice cream spot was called.
Han's Homemade Ice Cream.
It was so good.
It was really good. It's not there
anymore.
anymore.
And the kids loved it. And then I think they had
a little playground
outside. And then we just, it was so
And I think
fun.
we just had the boys, and I was pregnant with Harper at that time.
Yeah, that was crazy.
So like stuff like that. I would say you can pick a day a week, whether it's Saturday or Sunday or whatever, that like try to safeguard that day as much as you can. I know there was even a time for you where you had to like put your phone away for the day because it was just, things got kind of crazy.
I was very intentional during that time because I was in sales. This is when I got into sales. And
salespeople need to be available all the time.
Yeah, you do. I mean, there's, you get a text, hey, Rich, I'm ready to go. Can can I take payment? You're like, bro, babes, I got to freaking go take this payment.
Yeah, you got to do it.
But I do remember because I was gone, throughout the day and we had very little time together. I do remember being pretty good about phone control at that time. I don't know if you remember this.
Yeah, no, you were very intentional about it.
But I tried not to, like when I came home, like the phone was basically not out. And so like I did kind of try to clock out during that time a lot more than I do now.
Yeah. And we also had an agreement of like, okay, we had certain hours, I can't even remember what they were, but at night from like this time to this time, we don't have our phones. Or it was like we didn't take our phones to bed or something. I can't remember exactly.
And this was during the time too where we busted out the Navigators Council.
Yes, which is now just called the Marriage Journal, but that's from the ministry Beating 50%.
Yeah.
Great resource.
Beating 50%. And again, because in that season of life, things were chaotic. You know, we were having kids. They were young. We were in this little home. I was gone most of the day. We were trying to connect, but it was a little harder to connect because of the time that was available to us.
And we just had really little kids. It was just a season.
And it was a season. But then during those seasons, this is what we're telling the people is like, this is what we did, right? This is how we kind of connected. And the journal was one of them that we would do at night. And that would just get us realigned because one of the questions.
Tea at night on the couch.
We'd have tea at night on the couch, do the journal, and it was the same 10 questions every night. But those questions really got us realigned around communication, sex, vision and goals, and where we're at currently right now and what's going well and what's not going well. You know, and sometimes here's the thing: as a marriage, unless you have the talk about it, it never comes up.
Right.
Like unless you say, "Hey,
you'll
babes,
avoid it."
You'll just like, you just keep doing day-to-day life, and you're living a life that is not what you want, but you're both just going to avoid even talking about it.
Yeah.
So the journal made us talk about it. You know.
Yeah.
So
and then
powerful.
it also got us on the same page of like, okay, what is the vision? What is the long term? So it doesn't feel like this is going to be forever.
Yeah, what's the vision?
Like this is for a goal.
Yes.
And so then you feel like you can withstand anything if it's for a time to achieve something.
Yes.
It's not just indefinite.
Yeah. And every night, every time we did the journal, the same question was there. What is a vision or dream that you feel inspired by right now? And it's just like to your point, just hearing it over and over. And then as you know, that goes into the subconscious and now you're excited about it. You know where you're going as a couple. I mean, just a lot of great things come out of that. That helped us during that season.
Yeah, for sure. And then one other thing I would say is if you have a spouse that travels a lot, I know it's a huge sacrifice, but if it's at all possible, try to travel with your spouse.
Yes.
And I mean, and we've been able to do some really cool things. Like with our kids, we went up to Washington State and you were working. And so I hung out with the kids. We went to the Children's Museum. We took a little ferry across. I don't even know where we went, but it was like, we had a really fun time. We went to a pumpkin patch and did all sorts of fun stuff. We were able to take the kids to Washington, D.C. and go walk around the Capitol and see the White House. And that was super cool.
I did a work event in Florida. And then we stayed. And we did, I forget, what did we end up doing during that Florida trip? Is that when we did the alligators? I think we did the alligators.
Yes, that was when we did the alligator thing.
Yeah, that's when we did the alligator. We literally did this whole alligator hunt. I remember Hailey, oh my gosh, this is a crazy story, okay? You remember this?
I don't know where you're going.
So look, we were in Florida. She knows people that are going to take us alligator hunting. Literally to go get
wild
alligators. Okay? We're on this little boat. Not
with
a very
all
big
four
boat.
of our kids.
Surrounded by alligators. I'm thinking the whole time one of our kids is going to fall in and they're going to get eaten by an alligator. This is how I'm thinking. Then the dude that's kind of taking us on a tour, he throws a line in to literally catch an alligator with a hook.
Yep.
And he's like, hey, all right, here they come. They're going to start coming. Sure enough, alligator bites it, right? And then he gives the pole to Hailey.
And I had to reel in this.
And Hailey's over here on the boat. She's like
I'm not even exaggerating with you. This was like, what, an 8-foot alligator?
Oh, I mean, this thing was
huge.
Huge. I mean, we're talking, I don't know how many pounds this thing is.
He was huge.
Huge. Hailey's over here like trying to reel it in. I'm thinking, dude, she's going over. Like, we're going to lose Hailey. There's no way that we're going to make it. And then I'm looking at the dude because I'm like
is this okay?
Hey, man, like, is this what it's supposed to look like? Because she looks like she's about to go over. And I don't know. I was just freaked out the whole time. And then sure enough, like you kind of tired out.
I tired out.
And then you gave it to me. And then I'm doing it. I'm like, bro, how is Hailey even doing? This thing was
big freaking
It was
alligator.
a huge alligator. So anyways, after like an hour of doing that, we finally reeled this thing in.
We're going to have to share a picture.
And then we should share a picture.
Because that was very fun.
Gosh, it was intense.
But it was such a fun memory.
But that was on the back of a work trip.
So we try to travel with you as much as we can, which has provided a lot of really cool things for the kids, and it's been really fun.
Which is so fun. Yeah. Obviously, finances become maybe the tricky part with that, traveling as a family and all that stuff. So you got to try to plan for that. But there's very few trips that we have taken where I just go on my own. Mm-hmm. I've only done a couple of those.
Well, I can think like you did the one in India, but that was like the point of that trip. Your whole leadership team stayed in an Airbnb, and it was like a
That's right.
business planning, there wouldn't have been anywhere for the kids and I to go in that situation.
Yeah, that was
So that's one that we didn't
a
go on.
one-off type of deal.
But most of the time, we try to go with you.
Yeah,
which
travel
is fun.
together. That's a great one.
And then so you brought up finances, and I think finances can be a really big stressor in marriage. So I think one way that as a wife you can support your husband through financial stress is just make sure you're clear on the budget and you're sticking to the budget, right? As a husband, if you're like, hey, wife, we've got $200 for shopping this month, and you look at your account and there's $2,000 gone to shopping, I mean, that's going to erode trust and that's going to really escalate stress, right? So as a wife, I think you need to be very aware of what your family's budget is and do everything you can as a family to stick to it.
Yes.
I think that can help eliminate
That is
a lot of stress.
that is the number one stressor of marriage, which is finances. I can say this confidently is that even when we were broke, we didn't fight about finances because we were both under the same notion that we don't spend what we don't have.
Yeah.
Like that was just never something
did.
that we did.
Yeah.
You know, and I talk to a lot of couples, some of them very close to us, where they're just spending what they don't have. And they know what the budget is. It's not that they don't know. It's like they know what the budget
It's just
is.
they don't have the discipline.
They don't have the discipline to stick to it. And that, dear Lord, I mean,
Yeah, I
dude,
can't even imagine that stress.
that's a lot of stress, you know?
Yeah.
And especially too, I mean, I'm just going to say this. You guys are a team, but if you're a stay-at-home wife and you're also not providing, and then your husband's out there trying to just, you know, get after it, make stuff, and then the money's just going out more than it's that becomes very discouraging.
Yeah, very discouraging.
Because this is what happens, and I've seen it. The husband starts making more money, but because the spending increases too, they don't see
There's
the
never
money.
any more
They're still
money,
as broke as they've ever been, and then that discourages the husband because they're like, well, even if I make more, we're still broke.
We're still broke, yeah.
And so it's like there's never like a light at the end of the tunnel where it's like, oh, I made $5,000 more this month and we were able to save 3 of it. And it's like, oh man, let's do it again. Let's do it again.
Right.
We're getting ahead.
You're stacking.
All of a sudden, you just make more and you spend more, and the whole cycle continues.
Yeah, well,
It's
that's
horrible.
one of the episodes that's on our list to talk about is people over material. But I think so often people just get so obsessed with the material and they want all of the things, and they want their kids to have the really cute clothes, and they want to have the great sports stuff, and they just want all of the things, where you're like literally sacrificing the well-being of your marriage and of your husband and of your family for these things. You have to keep in perspective what really matters.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. And it's like,
Nobody
if they
is
do care, those
thinking
aren't the
of you.
people that you need the opinion of anyways. Like,
Yeah.
it's just silly.
You're looking for the cool factor. I'll tell you what, nobody cares.
Nobody
when they
cares.
go home after you see them, there's not one thought about you.
Right. It's all about themselves.
It's all about themselves.
Yeah.
What am I going to feed my kids? Oh my gosh, my husband this. Man, I got to pay these bills. I got stressed tomorrow. What am I going to do for work? That's all they're thinking about all day long. Nobody is thinking about you. Zero.
Yeah.
That's the reality.
That's the reality.
So yes.
Okay. So is there anything else you think is valid to touch on in terms of stress before we move on to the other one?
Which is grief? Is that what you mean by the
Grief
other one?
is the second
Grief.
one.
Yeah, stress.
Yeah. Okay. I have actually one other thing related to stress, and then I want to see if you have anything else. But one of the greatest stress relievers that God gave us is what?
SEX.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's sex. And I think as a wife, you have so much power there. If you can just be a willing and active participant for your husband in this arena, you can eliminate so much stress for them.
That's
And
a proven fact.
It is a proven fact. And for yourself. Like, it's good all around. And sometimes everyone just
Yeah.
forgets that they enjoy it. Like,
Yeah.
just have more sex. That's my bottom
Yeah,
line.
have more sex. Yeah. So I've actually gotten really good at this. I just come home and I'm like, babes, I just had a really stressful day. She'd be like, yeah, how was your day? It was very stressful. That's her cue. All right.
I got a job to do, guys.
I got to buckle down tonight.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, that's so funny.
But it is important,
It is a
and
good
it's
point.
important to
You
talk
got
about.
it. Yeah. It's sex. Yeah. You got to have it. No doubt about it.
And like, nobody wants the dead starfish sex. Like, it's not just having sex, it's being a willing
Yeah.
and active participant in the sex as a wife
Yeah.
is important.
I'll tell you what, though, it is hard. When we were just popping out kids, we had a lot of starfish sex.
Oh, that season was rough
It's
in that way.
In that way, it is.
In some ways, it's so beautiful, but man, physically, it's rough.
Yeah. I mean, we were having sex, but it wasn't like the most intense,
Well, obviously,
stuff.
the kids didn't get there themselves. Yeah.
So if you're in that season, hey,
That's
I get
okay
it.
too.
I
Yep.
get it. But you're still, still do it, right? That's just the point of it.
Yep, still do it.
No doubt about it.
Yes. Okay. Is there anything else you think is relevant and important to talk about in terms of stress?
With stress, Look, this is the one thing I'll say. I think, your perspective around stress is, I would really try to come at it from a position where you are grateful for stress, right? And I'm at this position now where obviously we just have a lot of stress because we have the kids, the homeschool stuff, all the stuff, and then we have the business, and then we have all the investment stuff. And so a lot of it, look, they're good problems. I'm not complaining. It's all first world problems, but it's stress nonetheless, right? And so, but I've really tried to reframe stress as something to be extremely grateful for, because I know that stress is what makes you stronger. Mm-hmm. And then to our point, what do we say in the beginning of this episode? The stress together as a couple is what makes it stronger.
Yes.
What makes it more beautiful, which makes it more praiseworthy, right? Mm-hmm. It's a cooler stories at the end of your life when you're 70 years old and you're like, do you remember all the stress we went through together, right? So every period of stress, I really try to reframe it to like, this is great. Like, thank you, Jesus, for the stress, because I'm going to look back on my life and say, this made me stronger, better, more resilient. And there's so many benefits to stress.
Yeah.
As long as you don't let it break you. You can't let it break you, but if you can handle it, it's like, be grateful for it.
Yeah.
It's a good perspective, I think.
That is. Okay, there's one other thing that I think, because we talked about a lot of your stress and how I can support you in your stress. What do you do if you walk in the front door and you can tell, like, man, this has been a day and she is overstimulated and she is done? Like, how do you walk into that environment, and like, what is your plan of action there?
I just go with my gut.
Which is?
It depends. Like if I notice that you're just like, it's been an intense day, I try to be less, funny guy, less like, I just try to be more like vanilla, right? Like just kind of blend in, let my presence be known, but like not too known. Does that make sense?
That's interesting. No, not really.
Like, it's just like, okay, hey, try to, Rich is here. Try to like, you're feeling the tension in the atmosphere, but I know that little things that I can do here and there, because again, I leave things out. I say things that could be, I think are funny, but sometimes they're just not the right.
I'm just not in the mood.
You're not in the mood for it, right? So I try to almost do less.
Okay. Does
that make sense? Like, not do more. I don't want to try to like come in and try to fix the situation. Oh, hey, what's wrong? Why is this stuff? I just kind of be present, almost as like I look at myself as a not something to fix anymore, because sometimes you get into fixing mode.
Right.
So it's like I don't want to fix anything. I just want to let my presence be there, and I'm like a place where you can, if you want to ask questions, ask questions. If you want to bounce something off of me, I'll let you take that that first step. I try to kind of more blend in, if that makes sense.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to tell you two things that I think would be beneficial in that situation.
Yeah.
And then if you have anything that you're like, hey, when I'm really stressed out, I would want this action, I want you to tell me that in a second. But I think one of the best things for me, if I'm like really overstimulated with the kids and really overwhelmed, is just like a hug, like a really tight, good hug. If I can smell you, that's even better. But like we've talked about like the actual neuroscience of a tight like compression hug from a man as a woman. It's like almost like a weighted blanket, how that just like calms your mind down.
Yeah.
And so I think that's really, really important. And then sometimes just get these dang kids out of the house. Take them to go get ice cream.
That's the thing.
Take them somewhere, get them out of here. Let me have a minute that's like somebody's not destroying something right behind my back. You know what I mean?
Yes. My focus does tend to go more towards the kids in those situations.
Like, get them out of here.
No, it's more so like, because a lot of it's probably stemming from kids.
Of course.
The chaos of them screaming, mommy this, mommy that.
Yeah.
So,
yesterday we just had someone spilled milk, and then someone knocked over my coffee, and then it was like,
then the dog pees on the blanket, and then
get out of my house.
one of the dogs chewing a toy.
Yep.
The girls are screaming because the Barbies are being eaten.
Yep.
I mean, it's oh my gosh. You guys know, if you got all the kids, you know how it goes.
Okay. So give me a couple of things that you would want that would be helpful to you during a really like stressful moment. What would
be helpful to me? Sex.
Okay. I was gonna say, please don't say the first thing that comes to your mind. I thought it was gonna be something else.
I think what's helpful for me is just not adding more stress onto it. I don't know if you ever notice when I'm stressed though.
Yeah.
Do you ever notice when I'm stressed?
I mean, of course I notice.
Do you notice, really?
But
what's my telling signs? What are my signs of stress? Because I would like to know this, because I try not to even show people I'm stressed.
I would say when you're stressed, you get more quiet. You're a little bit less like fun, because usually you're very fun. And when you're not in fun mode, that's usually a sign to me that something's on your mind.
That's a good one.
You're a little bit like detached.
That is my telltale sign. I would say that is my telltale sign. I am more quiet.
Yeah.
Because I'm in my head.
You're in your head, exactly.
Yeah, that's true. What do you do?
What do? I try to just make sure that, like I said, like our home is peaceful, that you want to be there. Make sure sex, that's on there. A cup of tea, that's always good.
Cup of tea, yeah. I know. Last night it was so funny.
Oh my gosh.
I hadn't been in the bathtub at night in a while, so I'm like, I'm gonna take a bath. And Hailey, gets ready. She goes onto the bed, and I'm in the bathtub, and I just knock out.
Like literally snoring in the bathtub.
Snoring
in the bathtub. I was like, man. And I don't think that's ever happened as long as we've been married.
I can't think of a time I did
man,
that.
He must be tired tonight.
And not only snoring, my head was on the back of the tub,
out.
like just out. Oh man, yeah.
You were out.
Maybe stress.
Okay, so moving on from stress, we're going to touch on grief for just like a quick minute. And that's probably something that you can talk more about than I can, just as far as supporting your spouse goes. And I think that like our most relevant experience as far as grief goes, was my dad's passing a little over 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's tough.
And so just for a tiny bit of background for everybody, in 2020, my dad was diagnosed with esophageal cancer, literally the month after Honor was born. And then it just kind of...
Very young.
Yeah. He was only...
57.
Was he 57 or 56 when he was diagnosed? I think he was 56.
56, yeah.
And then, just went through a long, drawn-out battle. We got a call around like May that the cancer's back, nothing they can do. He had about 6 months left, and they ended up passing that September. And it was just, an awful experience. And my dad was only 59 years old, and I still had really young kids and felt like I still had a lot that I needed to learn from my dad and tell my dad and wanted my dad to see. And so it was just a rough, and I've always loved my dad. I was very close to my dad. And so, it was awful.
It was awful.
But so as the husband in that situation, because I don't feel like I walked through grief in any special way, in any way that I can like help anybody else walk through grief. Like I feel like I just survived grief. But so what did you do as a spouse to kind of help in that situation or support in that situation?
Well, here's the thing. I don't know. I know you said I don't have anything special, but this is what is special. And this is where I really realized how strong of a person you are, is how you went through that grief. Because think about this. At this time, of course, we have the business stuff going on, right? We got the 4 kids going on. We have home chores, responsibilities going on. We have marital things that we're going on. And this time, again, there was a lot of moving pieces at this time. But how I know that you are one of the strongest people on the planet is because even during your dad's death, going through all that turmoil, you didn't skip a beat. Like you didn't take days off caring for the kids. Mm-hmm. You didn't take days off trying to be with me. You didn't take days off complaining or woe is me, or even though you had the complete right to. I mean, you had a complete right to say, dude, I'm taking a month off of life, right? Like, just figure it out. Like, take the kids, take this. Like, I need to just do what I need to do to get back, right? But you didn't do any of that. Mm-hmm. And you just woke up the next day and you did life as normal. And you woke up the next day and you did it again.
Yeah.
And so I think what I'm more fascinated with is, how did you do that? Because I know you said you don't have anything that you did, but you did something. And I think a lot of it comes down to your perspective on how you thought about the situation. And obviously your strength is in Christ.
Right.
And you had a lot of good perspectives there. But however you justified it to yourself, and the thought processes that you had at the time kept you sane, and it kept you in life, and it kept you just doing like back to life as normal. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how you did that.
Yeah. Well, so first, I never, like, I do remember I never felt any like anger towards God, or like.
You did express anger to me quite a few times that you said you were very angry.
angry that
You never said you were angry at God, but you did say you
I
were
never
very angry.
questioned God and his right and ability to take my dad if that was what he needed to do. I was angry at the fact that that was just what it was. And like, I just felt like I said, I felt like my dad still had so much. My dad was so excited to be a grandpa, and he was the best grandpa. And I just felt like my kids missed out on a lot with him. He missed out on so much with my kids. You know, like my girls were really little. Like that's one of the hardest things for me is like my girls probably won't even remember much about him. And that's really hard for me, those kinds of things. But I never felt like God didn't have a right to do that. I was like, I fully acknowledge that was your right. And I 100% believe with everything in me that God works all things for good and that there's a plan here and I don't have to see it to believe it. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And then I do just remember feeling like, so I remember I got the call from my mom, like, 1:00 in the morning on a Wednesday, like, hey, things aren't good. You need to come over. And so I left the house at so all day Wednesday, he ended up passing on that Wednesday. And then I remember calling you and like, I wanted the kids with me come Thursday. Like, I just knew I wanted my kids with me and I wanted you. Like, I needed you guys again. And so like you said, I never missed a beat with the kids, but I felt very strongly, even I think that helped me with the grief and that like I needed my husband and my kids with me. And then, so then for the next like 3 or 4 months between myself and my 2 siblings, we kind of took rotation and everyone stayed with mom for a couple nights a week so that my mom wasn't alone. And then after those like 3-4 months where it was like, okay, we got to get back home. We got to get back to our normal life. My brother and his wife stayed for another 3-4 months. And so my mom had somebody with her all the time for like 6 or 7 months, which I'm really thankful we were able to do that for her while she adjusted. And so I do remember like that family time being really important, that time with my mom, the time with my siblings, it's whatever. But like I said, I felt like I just kind of put one foot in front of the other and did the next right thing. And I didn't, that was it. Like there was no like great philosophical.
Yeah, but what was your perspective? Like, how did you keep your mental state sharp? I mean, there had to be, because I'm assuming this, there had to be days where you woke up and you said, this sucks. Life sucks. Like, I can't believe that this happened and it's not fair. But then you were able to eradicate that and just continue on. So there had to be some type of mental framework that you use to say, I'm going to shove those negative thoughts aside and I'm going to focus on the next thing.
One thing I do remember doing is like like one thing in particular.
Yeah, I want to hear this.
This is going to sound really
But this
weird.
might be the secret sauce because you did something.
This is going to sound really weird. But I remember the actual action of like sitting with my dad on the bed as he was passing, right? And I remember watching what his body went through during that season. And, if you've ever sat and watched somebody die before, the breathing gets very labored and there's a long time in between breaths, but it can take a really long time, right? And so I remember the next time I went to the gym feeling like, oh my gosh, this is really hard. But then I would tell myself, you know what? I've seen what the human body can go through and for how long this is nothing, you can do this.
Oh,
it's like I almost use it as a way of like, it made me give me more gratitude for what my body could still do, what my life still was, because my dad would have wanted life had he still been here, and he would have lived it to the fullest if he had still been here. So I'm not going to sit here and feel sorry for myself while I still have it.
Interesting.
I'm going to like fully embrace what my body can still do.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? So I don't ever remember feeling the like, this sucks, life sucks, I don't want to be here. I never felt that.
Yeah. But I'm sure you might have had thoughts like that, but you just got rid of them.
I guess I just reframed them really quickly, or I don't know. Yeah. I don't think my brain really works that way.
No.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, it's very interesting. This is a whole nother way of thinking about it, but I remember talking to a guy and this is how he actually framed stress. He's like, dude, look, I got a stressful job. He's like, I got things piling on me right now. I got a lot of things going on. But then, who he would refer back to? He would refer back to Donald Trump.
If that guy can handle it,
and that's
I can
what he
did.
Yeah. He's like, look, this ain't nothing.
Yeah.
Trump's going to this place, to that place. He's got people shooting at him. He's got like, dude, what I'm going through ain't nothing.
Yeah.
And that's literally how he like framed it and just carried on and said, dude, I'm just being weak.
Yeah.
So, but to your thing, you're saying like, hey, I saw my dad. I saw what the human body was capable of. I saw what you can handle. And it's like, I have no excuse not to
exactly
be better.
Yep.
Do better. Or that's interesting.
Yeah.
I never knew that. You never told me that.
Yeah. We never talked about that. But and I do also remember there was months from the time we got that phone call from the doctor in May for probably a solid year where like I could not sit in a church service and hear worship music without crying. Like
that was true.
Every
Yes.
single Sunday.
I do remember this. I remember it. It was like clockwork. As soon as worship started, you start crying.
Every single time. I don't know. I remember. So like for the first few months after we got the call till he passed, it was just like that anticipation of what was coming. And then after he passed, there was this thing that would happen to me where every time we would sit to do worship music, my brain was just like flooded of like the actual images of like sitting on the bed with him. That like that whole day would just like flood into my brain, and I couldn't stop it. And I'm really thankful that doesn't happen to me anymore. But there was a couple months there where it was really, really rough to just like control my mind and what would flood into my brain at different times.
I never got to see you grieve besides Sunday.
Yeah.
I never saw you.
That's why I say I don't think I was very good at it.
I never saw you weeping.
No.
I never saw you.
I spoke at his funeral and didn't shed a tear.
Didn't shed a tear.
Which I'm not proud of. Like I wish I.
Well, I don't think there's anything to be judged. There's no judging there. It's just, I think that's just a testament to also too your frame on how powerful Jesus had your dad. Like you truly knew he was just in he had a better life.
Yeah. And I remember somebody very, very well-intentioned, but telling me something about like, oh, your dad's in the butterflies or whatever. And I remember telling her like, look, I appreciate what you're saying and I appreciate the heart that this is coming from, but no, he's not. My dad's with Jesus. And even like he's sitting in the full glory of God. Even if he had the opportunity to come back as a butterfly to see us, he wouldn't because he's with God. Like he's not in the butterfly. He's fully enamored at the feet of Jesus. And that's where I want him. And that's where I want to be one day,
That's
like,
right.
And so I appreciated the heart and like where she was coming from. But I also felt very strong. I needed to tell her like,
yeah,
I think you're underestimating the glory that is God when you see him, And
I've said this multiple times. I don't know if I've said it on the show, but one of your spiritual blessings is the gift of faith. Mm-hmm. You have a tremendous amount of faith in Jesus, in that God is truly in control.
Yeah.
And he's good. And so I think that was partly your faith being displayed for me to see, the kids to see, the world to see, because your faith was so strong in God and Jesus that you truly knew that your dad was better. Mm-hmm. And I think that gave you a lot of peace.
Yeah. And obviously cancer is an awful thing. And there's a lot of like pain and struggle, especially at the end. And so I was just happy that it was over. He's whole and he's healthy. And my dad was vibrant and lively till the end. Like literally.
That was a character. One of the biggest characters I knew.
Yeah, he was.
And when I say character, just meaning to that point, like he was just a fun dude.
He was full of life.
Full of life.
He came every Tuesday to hang with the kids and I.
Even to the very end.
To the very end. Even when it was
like very, very end.
Yeah. And at the time, I didn't see it for what it was. Like I didn't see the deterioration in front of me just because like my brain couldn't accept it. But as I look back now, I'm like, man, he was like struggling and I didn't even really realize because he didn't let on.
He didn't let on. But
I think it's the Irish in us.
The Irish, yeah. Yeah.
But
that's a good point.
But you were a phenomenal support during that time, just in the sense of you were strong. You let me, like I talked about earlier, but just like a hug from you is the most comforting thing to me. And so I just remember you being very strong and like a very comfortable place for me in that time. Maybe not through words because I'm not a super wordy person, but just through your presence was enough.
Yeah. Yeah. The only thing I remember doing during that time is just, I tried to just ask questions if I, when I could, and then just see if you would talk. Mm-hmm. But you were not a big talker.
Didn't much.
Yeah. You didn't talk very much.
Yeah.
But when you wanted to, you would say stuff, and then I just remember just thinking, well, it's just all I wanted to do was just listen. I had no intent of even saying anything back because there's not much I was going to be able to say, but I just didn't know to get stuff off of your mind. Maybe there's thoughts or stuff and you might have given some stuff here and there.
Yeah.
As I look back, I do remember the things that were reoccurring at the time is that you did keep mentioning that you were just frustrated. Mm-hmm. Like you didn't think it was fair.
Yeah.
Like
I said, I can appreciate that God had the right to do it. I just didn't like that it was the choice.
It was just the way that it went down.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I was going to say something.
Is there any other thing that you can think back of during that time where you said, dude, this was a big anchor for me? Like this one thought, this one ritual, this one routine, this anchored me.
I think just my kids and being very present with them. And I think like our family loved football beforehand, but I think I really got my love for football from my dad. And he coached my entire life growing up, and my brother played through college. And so that was, and I feel like I've almost grabbed onto it more since his passing, because it's something that does make me feel close to him. It's something that I know he would just be so freaking jazzed about. He was all about it. So that's maybe something that's kind of like an anchor for me of like
Football. Yeah.
Which sounds funny, but it is.
It's a comforting thing. It's a
comforting thing. And then there's some things that like, I have a little brother and he looks a lot like my dad, but even like his mannerisms and some of the things he says sometimes are so much like my dad that even just like watching him, sometimes it'll bring a tear to my eye, but then that's a comfort. He has a brother that looks a lot like him. So whenever I see my uncle, it's kind of like, I just want to touch his face because it looks so much like my dad's face, you know? But just little things like that, I guess.
Good old uncle, huh?
Uncle Gil.
Uncle Gil. That's right.
Yeah. And like, you know, grief sucks, but it's part of life. We're all going to go through it in one way or another. And it's just part of life.
Do you still feel like you go through like grief now? Like,
of course. But then there's also the guilt part that comes with it. You know, like where you start to think, okay, this is getting a little bit better. It's getting a little easier. But then you also feel guilty about that. It's like, that's kind of a weird stage that I think I'm at right now. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. This is my first like really, really big personal loss. So I'm not sure what that looks like 7 years, 10 years, 20 years. I don't know. I don't know if the grief ever really stops, or I don't know. Check in a few years. I don't know.
When do you think it got better? How long until it got better?
I think I could go to church without crying after probably a year. I can like hear certain songs and not cry, which that was a big one. I still don't think I could listen to one of his voicemails without crying. That one would probably still get me. I don't know. I can look at pictures, like we have one of those skylight pictures that like rotates pictures, and I can look at his pictures most of the time without crying now, which I couldn't do that for a long time. Honestly, if we had tried to do this episode a month ago, I don't think I could have done it without crying, and I'm not crying now, so that's a good sign. But yeah, it's just a process. It's not even a process that like goes like this. I think it's just one of these things.
Peaks and valleys.
And it's not linear and it's not straight up. It's just going to kind of flow.
If somebody was grieving right now, going through a moment of grief, what would you say to them?
I think I would really just encourage them with the fact that God is good and God has good things and good plans, and you just have to sit in that and believe in that, and everything else you'll figure out. But like, just sit in that place. That would be it.
And if there was something you said, hey, don't do this, what would that be?
Don't feel sorry for yourself.
Doesn't help.
It doesn't help. It's probably not what your loved one would want for you. But even if it is, it wouldn't help. And it like in some ways it's not true, right? Like nobody in life is gonna have a life that doesn't feel grief at some point. And you're not going to be exempt from that either. And I think we live in a culture that like death is so far removed from us that we don't really know how to handle it. Where there's other cultures that it's a lot more just a part of their culture. I think we've done ourselves such a disservice in making it so far removed. But it's part of life. And I would encourage people, like when I get to that point of my life, I want to walk through death gracefully, and I don't want to be like fighting it the whole time. And I would say allow your loved ones to walk through death gracefully, and like so that and you can walk through the grief of that gracefully. I don't know if that's making any sense, but that would be my encouragement.
Yeah, I think so. And I think also too, somebody going through it will understand it better than somebody not.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah,
the people who need to understand that will.
That's right. Yeah, man. Yeah, that was good old Billy.
Yeah. Good guy, solid guy, but
fun guy.
Yeah, that was an episode that we've talked about doing for a really long time that I've been like, nope. And then just today we were getting our coffee on the way and I'm like, you know what? I think I'm ready for this one. Let's do this one. So
Charlie might have had something to do with it.
You know what? Erica's speech definitely did, because I just felt like, and the fact that I felt like we could talk about stress and grief in one. It's not going to be focused entirely on my situation.
On your situation.
Because truthfully, losing my dad was awful, but there's somebody losing their spouse, losing their child, I will acknowledge that that is a worse thing. And so I do not want to speak on a place of authority in grief at all, because like I said, I just felt like I survived it. And there's people that fare with worse things, but that's just my experience that I could talk about.
Well, I think you might be an expert at it.
Please don't call me that. Don't call me that. All right. Well, that was a good one. Thanks, babe.
Are we done, Zoe?
We're done.
Well, if you enjoyed it, share, like, subscribe, and we'll see you next week for another podcast.
Thank you.
All right.
Love you.
Love you.